everybody. Welcome back to the Aliens and Angels live podcast. This is November 23rd, 2025, and my special guest today is Jan Hann. Welcome back to the Aliens and Angels podcast. Today, I want you to meet Jan Hann, also known as Janet Fitzpatrick. Jan Hann was born in Hampshire, United Kingdom, and was self-employed and working for magazines such as Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, newspapers, etc., and at the time was employed by Ladybird as a children's coat designer, Rona Roy, women's dresses as a fashion illustrator, Just Jane maternity wear as a catalog illustrator. Lastly, she had her own haute couture boutique in Basingstoke. It was all about the material world. Jan wrote her first book about that life called Knock the Door by Jan Hann on Amazon, which has absolutely gone global. Jan got married during this time, and for her wedding dress, she unpicked a nun's outfit and created her bridal gown with it. Why? Because she always wanted to be a nun. People tell Jan that this was the sign of her calling, because that's exactly what happened to her. It was during 1982 to 1984 that Jan encountered some strange beings known as UFOs, which changed her life forever. All of the links are featured below. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, and please do share my content with your friends. And I'm happy to say that YouTube and Rumble channel memberships are now available, so you can receive my perks and help to support my channel. And for those of you out there who are already channel members, or you might be joining soon, let me know if you'd like to take part in my upcoming panel of members scheduled for sometime in December. So what I'm going to do is have a show and invite my members, just talk about stuff. It'll just be a very informal panel and your chance to maybe share some of your own paranormal experiences. So if you'd like to do that, drop me an email or leave a comment, and I'd be happy to include you in that process. Okay, so now without further ado, I'm going to bring on my very special guest. Here she is, Jen. Welcome to Aliens and Angels. How you doing?
Yeah.
Nice to see you. I'm just going
Fine,
to say
thank
a
you
quick
very
hello.
much. Thank you, and thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm just going to say a quick hi to Helena. Helena's here today. And of course, Denise is here as always. She's my amazing moderator. I don't know what I would do without her. She's already put up Jen's links to her Facebook, so y'all know where to find her. And she's also put up a link for anyone who wants to give me a donation via the Buy Me a Coffee app. And what else? Denise also says, please say hi, hit the like button, and share out and subscribe. Absolutely. And fearlessly phoenixing. Oh my God, I love this gal. She's so smart. Well, not to say my other, members aren't smart either, but she's super sharp. This girl, she could cut glass with a knife. Anyway, she says, good afternoon. And let's see, just seeing if we have anybody else. Yeah, and she says the same thing. Hit that like button for sure, guys. Do please come in and hit that like button. Let's see. Uh, Sorry, just checking. Oh my God, Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot. Oh my God, I'm a big fan of him and his son Matt, and they've been on the show before. Lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's just see if we have anything else. I'll just share Fearlessly Phoenixing says, I'll be in shock if I hear exactly the same things that I swear my memories have. LOL. It's always crazy when I have future memories and then I get the experience. I agree. I have that happen to me all the time too. It's quite quite an amazing thing. Okay, so now Jen has a bit of a presentation for us. So I'm just going to turn the floor over to her, and she can read excerpts from her book and tell you about her experience. And then we'll take a little break at halftime, and then we'll continue. She's got some awesome images of angels she's going to share with you. So I'm really excited. So Jan, is there anything, do you have any questions or anything before I turn the floor over to you?
No, I think that's fine. Thank you very much, Karen, for having me. Appreciate it. So I'll carry on with my experience now, if you like. So
Absolutely.
come from, as Karen said, I come from the UK. My my county is Herefordshire, and from the very beginning, the scenery took my breath away. I felt privileged to live here. It was a patchwork of natural beauty, green hills and golden valleys, wildflowers, healing herbs, luscious fruits and berries, and it's a land of milk and honey. It was here in this mythical landscape that my brush with immortality began. At this juncture in my life, I wanted to ask God what his plan is for humanity. After all, don't we all reach a moment where we ask, why are we here? I reflected on a time when the rain poured into my heart without pause. I thought of homeless, the suffering, and the anguish. And then I heard of a nuclear war. On this particular evening, Ian had the television on. A speaker was solemnly instructing viewers, take out the doors, prop them against walls. This will help prevent them from falling on top of you. This was advice that was given to us to prepare for a nuclear war. I asked Ian if it was some kind of a joke. He said, no, quietly. That night, I didn't sleep. In fact, it was for 3 nights that I stayed awake, gripped by fear, for my daughters, for all of us. Then I saw an article about underground shelters that were fully equipped with survival kits for 3 months, nearly £10,000, but no need to surface for weeks. That was it. My answer is that we need to survive. I couldn't wait to tell Ian, and he agreed. He said we have just enough money to build a shelter beneath the back garden. That night, I slept well, for the first half anyway, and then a troubling thought woke me. What will happen when we surface? How many others will still be alive? Will the world still be habitable, polluted? And once again, I was in despair. But angry, I had brought my daughters into this world under God's will to give them a safe, loving start to life. As a mother, I would do anything to keep them from harm. But I stunned. Why wasn't God doing anything to prevent humanity from self-destruction? I wrestled with God for days and nights, asking, how can a loving God, caring God allow this? Why, God, do you permit such things? Where are you in all of this? Little did I realize that this wrestling match was to be the beginning of an immense affair with God. It lasted 3 years, although my family will say it has never truly ended. A few days later, it was Tuesday, 2nd of March of 1982, and precisely 10:45 p.m. I was driving along a narrow country road in Herefordshire with my 2 young daughters in the back seat, supposedly asleep. As I drove down this lane, my eldest daughter began talking to me. "What comes after 20, Mummy?" I was puzzled. "Do you mean 20, sweetheart, or 19? She shook her head. "It looks like this," she said, and she started tracing an invisible shape in the air. I turned slightly to see her gesture more clearly, and it was precisely at that curve that something utterly bizarre caught my eye. To the left of the curve is a stile leading into a vast field bordered by tall bushes, and to the right of this lane we were driving on, which stretches approximately 352 which is 0.32 kilometers. At the end of the lane, a main road branches off, leading to the International Communications Satellite Station in. Now, as I turned onto the lane, I spotted some weird lights hovering above the ground. They are clustered together in the front left corner of the field, suspended eerily in space. How do I know they were watching something on the main road, or perhaps far beyond towards the satellite station? I can't say, but the feeling was overwhelming. These lights weren't random. They were aware. Suddenly, the lights turned and sped towards us. It took them 3 to 5 seconds to cross the diagonal stretch of the field, roughly 440 yards. Even at 5 seconds, their velocity was around 180 miles per hour. These intelligent lights came across as a cluster, yet they were separate entities. The cluster was staggered, as if their speeds varied. Here they are, alongside the hedge that separated us from the field. Spontaneously, as if they'd spoken with each other, they spread out in a long line without bumping into each other. Then a patter, raindrops tapping against the car's window. A mist rolled in with these lights, shrouding the lane in a hazy, dreamlike atmosphere. The lights, about 6 of them, were now travelling alongside us, just 3 to 4 meters between us, hovering 6 to 8 feet above the ground. Each entity was composed of 2 bright circular white lights, approximately the size of a car's headlights, joined by a glowing fuzzy stems pulsed and swayed. They weren't rigid, they were but alive with energy. They were there, and they were just peering straight at us, inquisitive beings with glowing eyes. And despite the shock, I couldn't feel fear. Their presence was almost hypnotic. I sensed no menace, only gentle, intelligent curiosity. We rolled down the lane in a parallel line, with my head turned towards them. When we reached the end, I turned left onto the main road. Moments later, a flash burst into the field. Then another explosions of lights illuminated the entire field. with my daughters asleep in the back seat. After settling the girls in bed, I drew a picture of them and rang the local police. "Look, love," the officer said, "we got enough trouble with the natural, let alone the supernatural. Try Airbase, they might be able to help you." The next day, Ian and I visited the airbase. However, we were informed that it had been out of service for a considerable time. The officer's response was, "The police always send people here. Same story, time and time again." Wow, that means I'm not the only one. On our way home, we returned to the field, hoping to find evidence of what had happened. However, there were no scorch marks, nothing strange, except in the center of the field there was a small pool of water where the flashes had burst. Nevertheless, what had unsettled me the most was it wasn't just a spectacle, it was how personal it felt. These weren't passive lights, they were interacting. They had stunned me, and I felt numb for the next few days. Some folk suggested tractors, ball lightning, and even swamp gas. None of it fit. Tractors don't hover. Ball lightning doesn't stop at hedgerows, disperse into lines, or flash. No, these curious lights were something else. Controlled, intelligent, and intentional. They engaged with me, and then they left. And I was changed. How many people have seen UFOs? Could they put a yes or a no in the comment? And how many people believed in UFOs? Please put a yes or a no in the comments. Personally, aside from the initial fright or shock, I had never read any accounts in which UFOs harm humans, except maybe a burn or something, but they don't kill humans. They don't stab at them. They don't whoosh off, but before they whoosh off, they don't knock a nuclear war down, bomb. Instead, they seem curious and perhaps even inclined to advise or help. But that's only my interpretation. Many years ago, strange lights were produced by the Earth with flame-like forms that frequently appeared on marshy ground, known variously as Will-o'-the-Wisp, Jack-o'-lantern, Kitty Candlestick, Ignis Fatuus, Corpse Candles, and by many other appellations. In folklore, they were interpreted as wandering sprites liable to lead travelers to their doom, as harbingers of death, and as widely believed to hover over fresh graves. A classic account of Will-o'-the-Wisp was given by a Berlin engineer in 1833. The first time I saw the Ignis Fatuus was in a valley that was marshy at its lower part. Bubbles of air were seen rising, and at night blue flames were observed shooting from and playing over its surface. The fire became visible but redder, and they also burned during the day. I was able to singe my paper. This report squares with the general but unproven assumption that this class of life form is burning marsh gas, predominantly methane, issuing from swampy ground, yet it contradicts most other will-o'-the-wisp accounts. These flames which peer over boggy ground are described as not producing heat. Alan A. Mills, a lecturer in planetary science, commented that explanations of the will-o'-the-wisp have been as numerous as they are unsatisfactory. Throughout human history and scattered throughout innumerable texts and lore from across there are traditions concerning the incorporeal powers and intelligences, living beings that are bodiless and typically invisible, possessing great power, intelligence, and tremendous focused intention for good or evil, which we commonly refer to as angels and demons. Indeed, the Christian saint Dionysius the Areopagite wrote a treatise on angelology titled The Celestial Hierarchies, a 3x3 matrix of 9 types of angels, as follows: in the first rank, seraphims, cherubims, and thrones. In the second rank, dominions, powers, and authorities. And in the third rank, principalities, archangels, angels. John of Damascus, around 675 to 749 years AD, also wrote an exposition on the celestial hierarchy concerning angels. An angel is an intelligent essence in perpetual motion with free will, and incorporeal, ministering to God, and he alone knows the form and limitation of its nature. For in reality, only the deity is incorporeal and immaterial. And that's by Joseph Farrell, 2023.
Wow, that was wonderful. Wow, so far I'm completely spellbound. We're going to take a very short break now. And when we come back, Jan is going to share with us some images of angels. And this is a real treat for me. I've also had angelic contact, but very few people have. A lot of people have seen UFOs, less, but still quite a few people have met ET one way or another. And but the angels, it's hard to find guests who have actually had angelic experiences. So this is very, very exciting. I'm just going to quickly go to a very brief promotion. It's only a minute and a half. And when we come back, we'll take a look at some of those images. It's fascinating. Thank you so much, Jan. It's very interesting. Are you looking for the perfect, unique seasonal gift? Check out Zendone's Orgonite. They are my unique brand of orgone generators, and they are affordable, ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. They are only available through my website, KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. These beautiful devices are simple compounds which balance ambient energy by converting negative energy and EMF into positive healing energy with many easily confirmed health benefits. They help diminish the harmful effects of negative energies and EMF by attracting and converting them, retuning them into new and more healthful sound and light wave patterns. They also produce orgone energy, which is also known as chi, prana, zero point, and life force. And you can use these devices for focusing the mind, healing, meditation, and for spiritual growth. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand of orgone generators, and they are only available through my website. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out my website to see my latest selection at KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. That's KarenHolton Healthcoach.com. Check them out today. And we're back.
Yes.
So I just wanted to play that little promotion. So by the way, for those of you who are listening on an audio podcast where you don't have visual, what was on the screen too was that you could save 40% off of any of my crystals or orgone generators from my website. And all you have to do is after you've placed your order, before you do the checkout, you'll be asked for a coupon code. And you want to put in F as in Friday, FALL 2025. So that's fall 2025, FALL 2025 to get your 40% discount. So we're back, and we've got my guest on today is Jan Hann, and she has had some amazing angelic experiences. Of course, like many of us, she went to the different authorities to let them know what she'd experienced, and they either brushed her off or didn't take her seriously or do much of anything. And so that's why it's good that we have each other as community, that we can get together with other believers instead of, having to take, let's just say, a little bit of social stigmatization, and we get to be free to talk about it. So I'm just quickly going to say hello to Vamp Skyder, who's here today. I haven't said hello to you yet. I think I've said hello to everybody else. And I guess we'll just continue on. Jan, do you want to move on to that wonderful image or set of images you were showing me earlier? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So when I did just before I show you the different types of angels, I just want to show you the what I did after I got back home. I rang the police, and before I rang the police, I did some sketches of what had been going on, and those are the UFOs in a cluster, and these are the when they came up to me right alongside us, 3 to 4 meters. That's what they looked like. In my thought, it was just like they were giraffes, really, with without any flesh on. It was just as if I was looking at just the inside of them, or the energy of them, really. That's how I saw it, just the top half of a giraffe, or half a dozen giraffes. So that's that picture. And then going back to these seraphim, cherubims, thrones, powers, archangels, principalities, dominions. This is the picture of those. Do you think mine fit anywhere in there?
Well, I don't know if this is true, but I've been told that angels can become corporeal, meaning have some kind of physical body or not. So
Yeah.
your image with the giraffe heads, wow, they're compelling, but they don't exactly look like maybe one on the bottom looks more like it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are just drawings of people that may not have seen any of them. So it's really just what they imagine, isn't it? Really. But my picture is the real thing. What they really do look like. So after my intense pleas for help with God, I had seen those lights, extraordinary beings. I had asked God what he would do about all these dreadful things. And then I felt guilt and shame because I had questioned God. Here I was after, as though there was something more profound. My energy was completely drained and my confidence had slipped away. Yet a strange longing bloomed within me, and all I could think about was religion. I asked God, where do I go from here? Which religion is the route? And there I stood once again, alone with this pain in my heart. Something surely had gone wrong. I whispered in my mind, God, where are you in all of this? Which religion is the right one? If I'm meant to follow a path, please show me. I sent this appeal upwards for several days and nights. Where are you, God? On this particular morning, with my hand on my heart, I stood at the kitchen window with trembling sincerity. I held out my arms and offered myself as a sacrifice to God. I prayed with urgency by knocking. You say we can knock and the door will be opened, I said aloud. Well, dearest God, I'm knocking and I can't knock any louder. To whom do I go to? To which church should I attend? Suddenly, a reply came instantaneously. A distinct male voice answered, ask none of these, but follow me. Startled, I asked, who is there? Again, I heard the same reply. I am the Lord Jesus. Trust in me, and I will show you the way. I was terrified. Jesus had always been my best friend as a childhood, a relationship. I'd hoped it would last forever, but never before had he spoken to me. No inner voice had ever addressed me directly like this before. I was petrified, cautious, and afraid of being misled. My first instinct was to hold myself into a constant prayer, like breathing, and that seemed to ignite a turning point. I poured everything I had into my prayer, looking up at the sky from the kitchen window with my arms open wide. I spoke aloud, dearest God, take me, take all of me, use me as you will. And all I ask of you in return, dearest God, is to give me back just that little piece that knows that you are there. And if you will it, dearest God, I will offer it to others so they too may share in it. But only if you will it, and not of my accord. Perhaps it was the rawness with which I prayed, desperate and devoted. Immediately, something spontaneously happened. It was as though I had been touched a divine switch, because at once there came a loud swirl of repent in my ears. And at the exact moment, a pressure bore down the top of my head. I was being driven downwards until I lay flat on the floor. I had surrendered to this invisible force. I was stunned and completely overcome. There was an awareness of something else, something unseen and powerful, and so close. And I sobbed, begging forgiveness for everything I had ever done wrong. I don't know how long I stayed like that, face down on the floor, but then I felt a warm glow on my head sometime later. The awesome holy other was not forcing me down anymore. Instead, I was magnetically being pulled up by the top of my head. Steadily, I looked out of the window, and there was a beautiful shimmering rainbow, and then another one appeared above it. I will never forget them. I took them to be a promise from God, and I love him deeply. Afterwards, I stepped back from the southeast facing kitchen window and took 3 steps towards the northeast facing dining room, which is there. Then something frightening happened. As I turned towards the dining room, it felt as though I had stepped or had been moved into a different zone. A creepy sensation enveloped me. You know that feeling when the hairs on the back of your neck stand up? It was like that, but more. Something invisible had again invaded my personal space. The strange presence felt like an enormous, invisible magnet. It had suddenly waited for me to turn in that precise direction. And that moment I did, it pounced. It latched onto the top of my head and locked itself there, and I couldn't move, and there was no way of escape. This present was more reality than reality itself. From deep within me, I protested. You've got the wrong person, honestly. I'm a woman. I feel too big. I feel this is too big for me. I'm too puny, too weak. I'm not the right person for whatever I asked you about. But it wasn't listening. Well, not really. Suddenly, something had been decided and a deal had been struck. Then in came paralysis, a complete suspended animation, another pounce, and this time it came with a clunk click, just like a metallic clamp, that I believed that I was being put on another electromagnetic wavelength. It felt like I was wearing a very heavy, tight magnetic cap, just a cap, it was just on there. And my essence, my stuffing was being pulled out of me. I was being teased into 2 parts. An outside observer might say it was just as if a giant bird had pounced on its prey and then rose into flight, carrying it skywards. But this bird wasn't interested in my outer shell, my physical body. Oh no, it was separating my inner energy, pulling it upwards, my physical body. And with that, a great rip came, an enormous roar and a rush of wind in my ears. And then I knew a part of me was moving upwards and out of me. The only way that I can, this has been since 40 odd years now, and I've been looking different things and in the science way, and in the factual way, what really could have happened. And to me, they who were putting onto wavelengths. That's the only way I believe that whilst I was going along the side of the field with these UFOs or whatever, then they were in my aura. They were far more powerful than me, although I do believe they're on the same wavelength as us. But because they were so close, I do believe that they were interfering or interacting with me, which they were on the same wavelength, but they were sort of like being absorbed by me as well. And this other wavelength was really quite painful, which I will tell you in a minute. So it was a clunk click, like a magnetic clunk clicked onto the top of my head, and it was drawing my stuffing out of me. And so the part of me was moving upwards and out of me. A significant part of me was flying with this invisible bird. It was one of the most frightening experiences of my life, because I could open onto the top of my head, and it was far greater than I was. I prefer to call it the Holy Other. After this was just the beginning of a chain of events that was about to unfold. This poor part I call the duo embodiment. The duo embodiment is where you are sort of in two parts. You've got one part, the physical part. The other part is your energy or your spiritual part, your electromagnetic field part, is the other part of you. But hey, you need to know that we were definitely linked together. So this is a duo embodiment lasting approximately 2.5 years, culminating in the Great Pyramid of Giza, and initiated into the most ancient initiation ceremony. Why are we here? Where have we come from? And where will we go after here? And I found our Creator, God. The Great Pyramid is our birthright and inheritance, and it's active today. According to research today, over 99% of the universe is composed of plasma. In contrast, our familiar physical matter, atomic or subatomic, is not the basis of life in its most fundamental form. And this under-recognized fact invites new speculation about the cosmic origins and the role of intelligence. Up to date, they have discovered two massive clouds, their size together being 9 times the size of planet Earth. They sit between the Earth and the Moon. They are both made of plasma. Is this where our aliens or angels are coming from? And that was by Robert Temple, this last part, his words. But I want to say to you that after these events there, I had a lot of events as I've been taking to the Great Pyramid of Giza. Lots of events, and they seem to be making me or preparing me to what was going to happen in the Great Pyramid of Giza. For example, it was what I call quantum stuff. It was, have you heard of Schrodinger's cat? If you hear of Schrodinger's cat, you open the box and you fix it. You fix everything. And this is what was happening between the two bodies of mine at the time. For example, I'll tell you in a minute that with the Schrodinger cat, once you open the box, you fix its state. And that's how it will be. And this is what was happening between the two bodies. But first of all, along the way to get to the Great Pyramid, which, as I say, took some time, and it was really quite painful at the beginning, because it was like I was going against a bit like a salmon going upstream, trying to go upstream, that streams coming down, and it's trying to get back to the top. And it's a little bit like that. It was as if I was going against an electromagnetic field, or crossing over from one to another. And then that was really quite painful to start with, until it calmed down, as if I was sort of, everything was settled. And then after that, it was things like we went to the sea, and then afterwards we went in the Welsh mountains above, and I started to think about the sorts of things that were actually preparing me to understand the hieroglyphs, strange things, to know how they work. So, and yes, it worked as well. They aren't language, but they are plasma shapeshifters, and they shapeshift, and that's how you understand them. But the thing that gets me the most is when we actually got to the this big mountain. I didn't know what it was. It was a huge, massive, colossal, made of stone. By the way, physically, I've never been to the Great Pyramid, and I didn't quite understand all this stuff, and at that time. But I will say, when we got there, my friends, that they said, don't look outside, but go inside. And when we went inside, I, at that point, my physical body, I went upstairs, and then I came downstairs, and I was told to look in my bookcase, and on the top of the shelf there, which I didn't know at the time, it was Ian's Bible. And so I took it out, which is what I was told to do, and I dropped it. And it dropped on the sofa, and it was open at a place which was in the Old Testament, which is to do with Exodus. And this Exodus bit is where you sacrifice a lamb, and then you daub all the paint over the doorway, and then you put on your shoes and your coat, because you're going on a journey, and then you go underneath the lintel. And I'm reading this because I was told to read it, and actually, what I was doing a bit of Schrodinger's cat thing. And at that point, when I read that it was going through and under the lintel, my spiritual body, my other body, then moved to the right, because there was a fork at that time, which there is in the Great Pyramid, a fork. You can go left or you can go right. And I was being determined to go right, to go up through the archway, and to go up the stairs, the ascending passageway. That's how it worked. It was the two were together, but one, the physical body, was acting like opening the box for the quantum part, the energy body, to do these things next. Awesome. And I will tell you that the Great Pyramid is, we need to know the Great Pyramid. It is our birthright. All of us have a right to understand where we are. I do watch long lost family, and they do say on there, you know, everybody has a right to their birthright and their inheritance. So I'm going to say that all of us have a right to our birthright and our inheritance, and it's there in the Great Pyramid, and it's active and live today. Because I can tell you that because of what happened to me, it's active. And it's not just for the pharaohs to understand this. It is for everybody on the planet. We are all entitled to know where we come from and where we're going to do and what happens next. Well, thank you for listening.
Oh, that was wonderful. It was a lot of information, some of it shocking, some of it I have not heard before. But I have had a lot of what I call transdimensional experiences in my own life, including angelic and ET contact. And I am familiar with those feelings associated with having a splitting. It's almost like I'm here, but I'm also there. It's also, for me, felt like when I was there, I wasn't here. And when I was here, I wasn't there. And, you know, we're never given from the time we're born, we're never given concepts and language to talk about these paranormal experiences. So we're grabbing at words, trying to describe in a way that our audience is going to understand and you know, hopefully glean some support and some wisdom and some knowledge from all of this. But I agree with you. It's so important to find out what your earthly mission is. So I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be having guests on podcasts and talking about what's important to me, spreading that all around the world, helping other people get recognized, get known, you know, promote their books, whatever I can do to make this world different. That's my own personal activism, not to mention the changes inside myself, like becoming a better person. You know, I find that the higher I raise my personal frequency, the more amazing and easy it is to have paranormal experiences. But I really, really appreciate your experience. You've been through a lot, and I'm willing to bet not a lot of people actually believe what you tell them. And we've all been through that, where people think we're crazy because we're talking about things that they don't experience. But maybe, just maybe, that is how God shows us what we need to do to have better conditions here, better life, and a better afterlife. I don't know. But we're almost running out of time. But Jan, what I'm hoping you can do now, I'm sorry we don't have more time to get into more details, but maybe you could tell people, what is your basic message? What do you want them to know based on your experience? And then where can people find you? Mention the name of your book, where they can find it. See, a lot of people are going to be listening to this on an audio podcast. They may not actually even get to see the replay. So if you could do that, that would be absolutely awesome. And thank you so much for being brave enough to tell your story.
Yes, thank you. I would like to say that the message here is that we are in two parts. We don't die. The energy can never die. It just changes its form, and then, you know, it's ongoing. We are in parts. We have at least two parts. We have a physical shell, and then we have a mental body, energy body. And it's the energy body that is the thing that keeps rolling on, you know, life after life after life. But most of all, my message is that my message is actually in the book, that you will find out who you are, where you're going to go from. It's opening. It's to do with the Great Pyramid. If you listen and read my book, it shows you how to be initiated. It's for everybody. And to raise your vibrations, and that's what it will do to the next level. My book is this one. which
Yeah.
is on, will be on Amazon. It's not actually there yet. I'll just take it out the shiny thing so you can see it better, but it will be on Amazon in a few days. So that's
wonderful.
the thing. But it is really, it is to, yes, it's to prepare people, or for people to realize that they do have another life, and the Great Pyramid is there. It's actually our true temple. It is the most important artifact on our planet, and this is the way. I don't see why it should be not allowed to speak before, but it's was, is, and always will be, and it's active today.
Wonderful. And where can people find you?
It's for everybody.
On Facebook. Okay, and Facebook. So I've got that in the link below for anybody who's interested in finding more about you. And I think it's a really important message. With all the stuff that's going on here on Earth, my goodness, it is so nice to have a higher perspective and to know that there are other beings besides humans that are involved in our life. And that's really wonderful. Let me just see in the live chat. Phoenixing says, thank you, Jan, for being both brave and amazing to share your experiences and your words of wisdom. She also says, we need the name for the audio only recording. Yeah, the name of the book. What is the full name of the book?
The full name of the book is The Great Pyramid's Initiation Ceremony, Hall of Records, active today. So it's Hall of Records. So it is the Great Pyramid Initiation Ceremony, Hall of Records by Jan Hann. Is that right?
Wonderful.
Is that what you want to know? Yes.
Yes.
What I want to say is...
Go ahead.
What I just want, what I want to say is that, we're in such a, I see that we don't know where we're coming. We don't know where we're going from. We're sort of like lost sheep, if you like, really. And it's about time that we heard more about, these things. We need to open the box and look further at life.
Yes, I completely agree. Fearlessly Phoenixing says, thank you so much, Karen and Jan, for such a wonderful episode. Yes, I want to thank you too, Jen, not just for your courage to come public and talk about all this, but also learning how to use technology like StreamYard and all different things so you can be available to the world, to the public. I'm very excited that your book is coming out. That's really awesome. I also want to thank all the people who made the effort to come into the live chat today. You really, really make my community. You're so positive, so loving. What a great bunch of folks to hang out with on a Sunday afternoon. I couldn't be happier. And so I just want you all to know that you're making a big difference in my life and the lives of other people. I want to also thank those that are listening on an audio podcast. I'm part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, and you can find me on all audio platforms. And then there's the replays, those that come and watch the replays, because some of you might be at church or might be going to work or might be doing different things and may not be able to be here live. So I'm just thrilled to bits with my community that has coalesced around this show. And I wish you, Jan, the very, very best and hope to have you back on my show, maybe in the early new year, and we can pick up where we left off. But we're out of time for today. And again, I love everybody. Big hugs and loves out to all of you. Hope you have the most amazing week. And we'll see you on Wednesday for the Quantum Guide Show. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the Aliens and Angels podcast. Read about my true life ET contact in my book called Transdimensional Meet the New Neighbors. which is now available on Amazon worldwide. Subscribe to my YouTube, Rumble, and X channels at Karen Holton TV. The like button and leave me a comment. And please do share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All of the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you'll also find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton on all audio platforms. Until next time, keep up the good work.